You don't think you have enough exposure? You have, what, 158,000 Bitcoin holdings in MicroStrategy? You want more?
You can never have too much Bitcoin.
A lot of people are starting to sound like Giga Chad these days. Check this out. 820 billion Standard Chartered Bank predicts Bitcoin will reach 100K by the end of 2024. They also said the Spot ETF approval is likely coming sooner than expected. We got a lot of bullish news to cover. Let's get it. And here we begin. Business Insider, Bitcoin on track to hit 100,000 by the end of 2024. The crypto spring has begun. Bitcoin, not crypto. But this is from Standard Chartered. Bitcoin has more than doubled this year and is still set to more than double again, 100,000 by late next year. Standard Chartered said Tuesday. The note reiterated a forecast first made in April when analysts said Bitcoin would reach the six-figure level by the end of 2024. They're doubling down. Bitcoin has already soared 130% in 2023, and the bullish price outlook represents additional gains of just, a little more than 160%. They say new supply will be diminished by next April's halving. That is fast approaching, friends. A recurring event that reduces the amount of Bitcoin awarded for mining. Typically, prices peak 12 to 18 months after it occurs. Kendrick is one of the macro heads at Standard Chartered, but a positive surprise is also emerging from the demand side, given the rising likelihood the Bitcoin spot ETFs become approved for U.S. markets. He added, "We now expect more price upside to materialize before the halving than we previously did, specifically via the earlier than expected introduction of the ETFs, suggesting," and I like how they said a risk, because they and others want to be able to accumulate as much as possible, risk the USD 100K level could be reached before the end of 2024. We better get stacking. Now, Standard Chartered was not alone. Their bullishness was joined by analysts at Bernstein as well. Check this out. All right, here we go. Bernstein, Bitcoin set to rocket to 150K by the middle of 2025. And I love this right here. You may not like Bitcoin as much as we do, but a dispassionate view of Bitcoin as a commodity suggests a turn of the cycle. This cycle really could be different. And they definitely reiterated the same reasons for their bullishness involving the halving and the ETF approval. But I love this part here. Though the SEC originally tried to block such efforts, its rejection of a grayscale ETF was defeated in court in August, potentially paving the way for a regulatory turnabout. Quote, "We expect US regulated ETFs to be a watershed moment for quote-unquote crypto. We expect the SEC approval by late 2023 or Q1 of 2024. And then post-halving, they're expecting a Bitcoin spot demand via ETFs to outstrip miner selling by 6 to 7 times at peak, putting Bitcoin ETFs equivalent to 9 to 10% of spot Bitcoin in circulation by 2028. That would mean the spot Bitcoin ETFs would hold basically all the coins on exchanges as of today." But yeah, very bullish from Standard Chartered. This is a bank, again, projecting six-figure Bitcoin, and everyone's starting to sound like Saylor, from Larry Fink to others. And here is Giga Chad, just to remind Standard Chartered they may be a little bearish here. Bitcoin's going to blast past 100K to 200K, maybe even 250K, says Giga Chad.
When Bitcoin blasts past $100,000 to $200,000, maybe it'll trade from 250,000 down to 175,000, and people are going to be screaming the end again. Bitcoin is compounding at 40 to 50% annualized growth rate for the past 3.25 years since MicroStrategy got into the space, with a lot of volatility. I think an analyst, Timmer from Fidelity, pointed out it is got the highest volatility of any asset, but it's also got the greatest return. And so, as I've said in the past, volatility is vitality. I'd rather have the volatility and the performance than get rid of the volatility. Gold's not volatile, but it's also down 1% in 3.25 years. So that's not what we're looking for.
Time is ticking. Just this morning, this is an omen, right? Only 21,000 blocks remain until the fourth Bitcoin halving. Did you stack sats today, or did you let Larry Fink beat you? Banks, major institutions, nation states, as we covered the other day, they all want Bitcoin. They're all starting to understand Bitcoin is here. It's here to stay. It's not going to be stopped. and it's going up forever, Laura. Now, one thing we also have to talk about is we have a halving, we have the ETFs coming, but how are Larry Fink and everyone gonna accumulate all these Bitcoin when the supply in exchanges is at its lowest in 5 years? They only got a couple options without really just jacking up the prices. One, highly skeptical, would be to mine their own Bitcoin to seed their ETF. Over the counter, it's still so much Bitcoin, it's gonna drive up prices, so it is gonna cost a pretty penny, even for the BlackRocks of the world. Last option, they may try to shake you out, so beware of FUD, though it looks like the energy FUD, the ESG FUD, and all of that's gone. Oh yeah, they're trying to say Bitcoin kills swimming pools now, so yeah, pretty much Bitcoin won, guys. It's over. And, you know, as Bitcoin keeps winning and becomes part of the mainstream, the bull market's approaching, it might be time to call grandma and say, hey, I see some huge upside potential here, grandma. Very little downside risk. You want to go to the moon? We got some more coming on this tomorrow, but again, Standard Chartered, others are saying the Spot-Bitcoin ETF approvals are likely to come sooner than expected. Now, just how soon is tough to judge, but here's Dylan LeClair, and regardless of when, the talk of ETF approvals misses the forest for the trees. It's not about immediate reactions or flows, it's about the recognition of Bitcoin as an institutional asset. Pensions, endowments, insurance investment portfolios, etc. will soon be entering the arena with passive buy-side flows for the long term. In December 2020, MassMutual invested $100 million into Bitcoin. Massive, except not really. MassMutual manages $235 billion in assets with long-dated fiat liabilities. $100 million of Bitcoin is approximately a 0.05% allocation. Large investors don't purchase something to flip it the next month. They're constructing portfolios for multiple decades. That 0.5 allocation is just the start. We could probably tell from personal experience along our Bitcoin journey how that grew and how we learned that, hey, why would I save in anything else? It's the best performing asset. It is the best money ever created or discovered. There is no second best, but there are many more mass mutuals out there, and all of these allocators are staring at their bond portfolio, which is down 50% from all-time highs, questioning previous assumptions they had. Think it's time to fire your financial advisors and just stack sats. It's that easy. Save in Bitcoin, build your own future. But the endorsement by the likes of Larry Fink isn't a sign that Larry is suddenly a bull. It's a sign that clients are knocking on the door, asking for a vehicle to gain exposure. Passive accumulation starting from the peak has you up 45% right now on your Bitcoin position. The same passive allocation into long bonds has you down 12%. What are you doing? Think about it. Hodlers, right? Major institutions are going to hodl too. It's a misunderstanding, says Dylan LeClair, of time horizon, a 1% allocation to an asset that they don't plan to liquidate for years or decades with an extremely strong Sharpe ratio is within their risk profile. If you want proof, just look at the rest of their portfolio. No, the orange coin is not going away. No, it did not die when FTX collapsed. Yes, supply is more tightly held than ever before. Yes, perpetual credit expansion of the fiat monetary system is an ongoing reality. No, there is no sense of fiscal austerity present anywhere. Yes, this illiquidity means marginal flows into the market sends the price higher, which is why all of these institutions will start with a tiny, 0.05% stake while continuing to passively allocate steadily for the long term. They're joining the DCA army. Imagine all that news and then you're the Washington Post with this headline, Bitcoin isn't the future of money, it's either a Ponzi scheme or a pyramid scheme. Yeah, tell me you're an asshat without telling me you're an asset. Everyone's waking up to the fact that there is no second best, so never forget at the end of the day, you hold the most precious piece of property on the planet. You want to secure it, you want to take care of it. And to any tyrants out there, you can tell them to go fuck themselves because they can't take your Bitcoin.
Give me an example of something you can own $100 million of where you can take personal custody of it and where you can actually move it anywhere on earth and where even if I hold a gun to your head, I can't take it from you. And the only thing we've ever figured out that you can do that with is Bitcoin. And so Bitcoin is like, it keeps everybody honest. The optionality to do this means that all you got to do is find one bank in Singapore that'll treat you better than the bank in New York or London or Tokyo. And then you can move it in a half an hour for $5. And what happens next? The bank in New York thinks, well, I guess we can't screw these guys over because they'll just move it to Singapore. And the guys in California say, well, I can't just tax all the Bitcoin in California. It'll move to Wyoming. It'll move to Singapore. It'll move to Malta. And at the end of the day, you can tell everybody to go fuck themselves. You can put it in your head, memorize the freaking key, right? And it's here.
Hey, and want to make sure they can't take your Bitcoin? Do you need help getting your Bitcoin off exchanges into self-custody? Wherever you are in your Bitcoin journey, we got just the guys to get you covered. Guys, Simply Bitcoin Originals are powered by the Bitcoin Way, and if you want to take self-custody, get your Bitcoin off those exchanges, well, as your dedicated Bitcoin IT team, the Bitcoin Way is here to guide you from start to finish on your journey to properly self-custody your Bitcoin. What's more, they've recently introduced 100% privacy-focused collaborative custody services where you'll benefit from advanced multi-sig security, inheritance planning, and much more while remaining 100% in control. Looking to get started or take your Bitcoin setup to the next level? Book a free 30-minute call using that link below. Okay, guys, and stay tuned. More news on the ETF front. Hondo Asset has officially filed for Spot-Bitcoin ETF with the SEC, and here we go. BlackRock met with the SEC's Trading and Markets Division yesterday regarding their ETF application. BlackRock presented a revised in-kind model based on previous feedback from the SEC, which we just covered the other day. So you can see things like Standard Chartered said are moving rather quickly. So I get a question, are you bullish yet? If not, might want to go scan the cranium. But hey guys, thanks for stopping in. Be sure to like, subscribe, share that sound money gospel, and be sure to follow us on Twitter where we're getting all the latest breaking news. Set those notifications, follow Simply Bitcoin, and we will be your guide through the peaceful Bitcoin revolution. I'll catch you all next time. Peace.
If you prefer to go down with the ship, fuck you.